Now we hear together from Luke's account of the Gospel, the 21st chapter, beginning with the 25th verse. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on the earth distress among nations, confused by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will faint from fear and foreboding of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to take place, stand up and raise up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. Then he told them a parable. Look at the fig tree and all the trees. As soon as they sprout leaves, you can see for yourselves and know that summer is already near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that the kingdom of God is near. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. Be on guard so that your hearts are not weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of this life, and that day catch you unexpectedly like a trap. For it will come upon all who live on the face of the whole earth. Be alert at all times. Pray that you may have the strength to escape all these things that will take place, and to stand before the Son of Man. Well, have you received your first Christmas card yet? Anybody get the first? Okay, were you surprised a little bit? Oh my gosh, already? It's here, it's time. Or an electronic greeting, or whatever it is your family or your friends thought they ought to send you. Our first holiday greeting arrived this past week in the form of a CD, not the kind they put in the bank for you with the round thing. And I wasn't sure for a minute what it was exactly. Was it a CD? Was it a DVD? What was I supposed to do with it, right? A Christmas card, you open, you read it. It's what is this? Am I supposed to look at it, listen to it, watch it? Is it somebody's vacation pictures? God forbid. Please don't send your vacation pictures. A recorded reading. Merry Christmas from us. Or the full-length version of It's a Wonderful Life. When was I going to look at this? How am I going to, what were they thinking? You know, Christmas is coming, there's so much to do. The stack of mail is going to get higher and higher. And in case you wondered, it did turn out to be a CD of Christmas music. Not so bad, I haven't listened to it yet, but not a bad idea. The second card arrived just a few days later, before December 1st. Oh great, I thought somebody with all the time they need, nothing to do but to send their Christmas cards out early, will never get ours out, and you can tell that the Christmas time really brings out the best in you. As cheerful as you can get. Days are surely coming, says the Lord. Oh yeah, but how many shopping days? Are you ready? Can you take it? Can you stomach it? Are you stressed out, worried, frazzled? Are you doing okay? You gonna be all right? It's a race after all, you know it is. Now it starts on Thanksgiving if you want to go shopping. You do not need to wait any longer for the wee hours of Black Friday morning if you want to go. And so the turkey is hardly down, well, where the turkey goes. And the gun goes off, and we begin that race against the clock to do everything we can in 1 month's time, only to feel indescribably let down when it's all done. So, how are you feeling about time? Right. If you're a kid, maybe Christmas can't get here fast enough. Hurry, Christmas. If you're a teenager, or maybe a little bit older, school and exams are distractions. Then just let's get this out of the way so that I can enjoy Christmas. Or if you have little kids, it's kind of fun, a little more fun, even if perhaps you're not getting as much done as you would like. I wonder about those of you who are retired. Do you have more time than you used to do things? Do you? Nobody's answering. Okay. No. There's a no. Unequivocal no. And how about those who will admit to being, anybody here admit to being very old? Anyone? No? Okay. Because I wonder, when you get to be very old, does it cycle back again to where it was when you were a kid? And it's just very slow. I hope it's like that, but I don't know. It's about time. It's our theme through these Advent Sundays. It's about time. Today we roll back time as though Jesus were not yet here, even as we look ahead in expectation that He will come in some mysterious way. Again, all the texts that we've heard, all three of them, convey a sense of the importance of time. Days are surely coming, says the Lord. In those days, and at that time, I'll cause a righteous branch to spring forth for David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. Jeremiah's words convey the hope that God is going to do something, and it's going to be something big. You ever been in a situation where you said, God had better do something, and it better be something big, and it better be something fast? You ever been there? Maybe you have, maybe not, maybe never. Most of us are doing pretty well most of the time, I think, the way things are. So maybe not, or not very often. And Jesus' words from Luke, most of us have heard them before. It's hard to take those words literally. It's hard to stomach them, really, especially if your life is going along pretty well and you aren't especially on the lookout for change. In this section of Luke's Gospel, Jesus is talking about both a very specific event, which was indeed the fall of Jerusalem in 70 A.D., and the end of time as we know it, a day when we won't be hurrying and we won't be worrying and we won't be marking our calendars anymore. But you may have noticed it hasn't happened. It's almost too crazy to conceive of, and plenty of chaos breaks out in the world on a rather consistent basis. Wars and earthquakes and famines and the like. But now, do you hear what Jesus is saying? He's saying the sun and the moon and the stars are all involved. Now, last time I checked, the sun was pretty predictable. And the moon and the stars were pretty stable, and I like it that way. But now Jesus says the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And through our first world eyes anyway, it all seems dreadful. How on earth could this mean any kind of hope? But through third world eyes, if we could put those on for a moment, whose days and hours are filled with poverty and with continual warfare, with the unspeakable abuse of women, with death and destruction. The end of time, as we know it, stands a chance of being welcomed with open arms. Oh, please change. And the shaking of the sun and the moon and the stars may in fact just be a sign of a God who isn't satisfied until every last atom in this universe is healed. So I wonder, is it possible that somehow you and I can grab a hold of what is unsettled in us long enough to take a look at time differently? To have the sense that these chaotic 24-hour day after day after days in which we live do not and will not finally define the totality of things. Let me shift gears, perhaps a bit abruptly, so I'll warn you against some shifting gears quickly. And go back to Advent time. And at the risk of oversimplifying things, let me hand you a little bit of practical advice for these weeks and hours and days leading to Christmas. You do have hours and hours and hours right now. I want to have us have an opportunity to practice living differently with time and in time. It's a rare, at least coming from me, it's a rare 1, 2, 3 sort of thing. So here goes. Okay, first, if you happen to be a note taker, you could maybe take it to make me feel better. Take a note or two here. Number 1, and it's really a cheating. It's a 1 ABC. Okay, 1A, make a list. 1B, prioritize the list. And 1C, cross some things out in marker. Okay? These days can be absolutely overwhelming. With dreams of doing everything and being everywhere, making it all just perfect. So make a list, prioritize the list, and cross some things out right away. Donna Shaper, senior minister of Judson Memorial Church in New York City, calls it the act of subtraction. I like that. She says, I find praise in the act of subtraction, particularly around Christmas time. There is so much of Christmas I want, and so little I can actually afford or execute or experience. For me, preparing to practice Advent, she says, is about managing expectations while having high hopes. I find home, she says, in doing less, planning less, being more. Simply put, Reverend Schaefer refers to it as making a to-don't list. I love it. A to-don't list. You've got to-do lists, right? You've got to open all those cards and listen to that CD. So make a to-don't list. Luke's Jesus says this. He says, be on guard so that your hearts aren't weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of this life, and that day catch you unexpectedly. Now maybe dissipation and drunkenness are not a problem for you. Maybe they are, and you probably ought to address that first, if they are. But all the worries of this life. Worry. Those are another matter. Who hasn't been weighed down with the worries of this life? Make a list. Prioritize the list. Then cross some things out. That's 1 ABC. 2 is just 2, no letters, okay? Give some time to somebody else. Time that's hoarded all to ourselves can become wasted. Somebody needs a visit, or a call, or a note. Or maybe there's a relationship that's broken and it needs to be mended. Or some parents who need some time to themselves and they could stand it if somebody would call and offer to babysit for free. Or there's an organization that helps others and they need your assistance. Or there's just a family member who needs a little more attention right now or a little more understanding right now. Give some time to somebody else. And third, practice living one day at a time. The season of Advent offers us this wonderful gift of days that are not the day. Not Christmas. In the very best sense of that phrase, not Christmas. So get up in the morning and say, today is not Christmas. Today is today. Be alert and pray. That's what Jesus says to do. Pay attention to life. Pay attention to people. Pay attention to God. As Paul writes to the Thessalonians, he can find no better use of his time than to pray night and day, all the time, that he might see his friends face to face and restore whatever's lacking in their faith. Larry Patton, United Methodist minister, recently wrote in his blog saying, won't time end? Did the Bible promise that? Well then, I say, let it be today. Let the whole of time end, and let holy time begin, here and now. Let me see enough, listen enough, believe enough, hope enough, remember enough, plan enough to have enough of my time. And I'm the only one with my time. Truly man. Yes, I'll waste too much time. I'm only human. But I can also create less time when I take time for others. When I take time to be curious. When I take time to be grateful. When I take time to listen. When I spend less time judging the stranger and more time celebrating with neighbors. Karl Rahner, the 20th century German Jesuit theologian, wrote a prayer which reads this way. Behold, you come, and your coming is neither past nor future, but the present, which has only to reach its fulfillment. Now it is still the one single hour of your advent, at the end of which we too shall have found out that you have really come. O God, who is to come, grant me the grace to live now, in the hour of your advent, in such a way that I may merit to live in your forever, in the blissful hour of your return.